somewhere in the world, Ben is walking. And today, he's talking to you. I'm Laura, and this is Walk and Talk with Ben Watkins.
What I want to talk about with this is very targeted to hiring managers and founders that are thinking about the blend of location, in office, hybrid, or remote, and compensation. There's a very, let's just call it, if you're in tech, there is a high pull to want to be in San Francisco, the Bay Area, and I get it. Engineering wise, I mean, you're going to have just the best talent in the world graduating from the top universities. There is a lot of intense pull to go in and want to be in the Bay Area. There's a lot of intense pull to want to be in other tier 1 cities, such as Boston, such as New York City. There's many of these. What a lot of founders and hiring managers don't think about is how are they going to pay relative to the cost of living that's real, let's just call it the risk of danger that's real in that city, and what is the job actually going to go in and be. And so I'm going to focus on sales for this. And so here's an example of what can be the absolute worst mix when we're going out and a client wants us to go and recruit this. And I always advise as strong as I can, don't do this, is they want to go in and hire a salesperson in the Bay Area or New York or Boston or any of those types of cities. They want to go in and have it be in office. And as such, that means that employee is either going to need to commute a long way because traffic is quite brutal in any of those major cities, or they're going to need to find a way to live very close to the office, which means cost of living is going to go through the roof, or the danger meter, literally. I mean, when I was going to the Bay Area, I'd go there almost every single week for about 18 months. Not once, even when I was staying in the nicest hotels and I'd be walking into the office, not one single 1 week period of time did I not have a homeless or insane person screaming, creating a dangerous environment. And so you just need to think about that as you're hiring people. So if your plan is, I want to go in and pay, let's call it tier B city tier B city wages. I want my employees to be in office, and I want to go be in a major city. All of the dynamics are off. And so what happens particularly is you're hiring, and I'm going to focus again in revenue, you're hiring a salesperson. So I'm going to use real compensation numbers. Let's say that you want to go in, you want to get somebody with 2 to 3 years of experience. You want to go in, you want them in office. And you was like, okay, so at 2 to 3 years of sales experience, if you were in a tier B or tier C city, they could go in and afford to live in a good home. They don't have to live in the nicest, but a good home, safe. And they're going to live for about $100,000 a year. And they're in a good spot. They're not in the nicest, but they're definitely not in a bad neighborhood. They're proud of where they're living. They're happy to come into the office. When you move to San Francisco or to the Bay Area, you immediately pay a premium of $50,000 minimum. And you're very low on the market, because even at $150,000 a year on target earnings, they're going to have to go in and work their tail off to earn that commission. They're not going to get it in the beginning because they're trying to learn how to hit their quota. They only have 2 to 3 years of experience, so there's still a high learning curve. So they end up either needing to commute a very long distance, but they're dying to work for you, so they're willing to do it, or they live in an unsafe neighborhood. And so then what you go and you say is like, what was the point in all of that? So how do you go in and solve this? My recommendation to people is, if you're going to hire in a tier 1 city, do not hire your entry-level go-to-market people in office. Hire them either remote, and that can be in other countries, that could be in other states, or open a new office in those markets. So if I were going and I wanted to have my technical team in the Bay Area and we're in office, I would then go have my go-to-market team In a tier C city, I would go to somewhere like Nevada. You go to Las Vegas, you go to Henderson. I would go to Tampa in Florida. I would go to Dallas. And I would go in and build the culture there in office if I wanted to. Or if in San Francisco, I wouldn't hire junior reps, I would hire mid-level enterprise or high-level account executive where you start your compensation at $225. Now people can afford to live in reasonable, again, not the nicest, but reasonable housing, be in office with you, and go kill it. I hope that helps as you're deciding the trade-off between where to work, how much to pay, and how often they're in the office.
We put together a one-pager breakdown of exactly how to think through location, comp, and in-office versus remote for your go-to-market team. Link is in the description. Go grab it before your next hire. This podcast is brought to you by Database, your partner in building revenue teams that actually perform.